Did you know there is a cheese with edible larvae? It may sound strange, but it's real.
Today, we're going to explore the entire production process in detail, so make sure to subscribe and leave a like. Let's go.
Phase 1. Obtaining and collecting the larvae. Before the production of the cheese that will later become Casu Marzu begins, producers must ensure the collection of the larvae that will participate in the fermentation of the product. These worms, which are actually microscopic larvae in their early stages, are an essential component of the process that will transform pecorino cheese into this very particular food. To obtain them, producers take advantage of the natural cycle of certain insects present in the rural environment of Sardinia. In different points near the production facilities, small pieces of aged cheese or remains of dairy products are placed in open containers. The intense aroma of these foods attracts insects that deposit tiny eggs on the surface. After 1 or 2 days, the eggs begin to hatch and small white larvae appear, commonly known as cheese worms. During this initial stage, they develop rapidly, feeding on the organic remains present in the containers prepared for this purpose. Once the larvae reach the appropriate size, producers carry out the collection. Using simple tools or fine sieves, they carefully separate the worms from the material where they developed. This task is performed with attention to preserve as many active larvae as possible. Subsequently, the collected worms are placed in special containers where they are kept under controlled conditions for a short period of time. From there, they are transported to the facilities where the cheese is produced, where they will remain available until the pecorino wheels are ready for the later phases of the process. In this way, when the cheese has completed its first stages of production and maturation, producers already have the necessary larvae to begin the characteristic fermentation that will give rise to Casu Marzu. From that moment, the next phase of the process begins, obtaining sheep's milk and forming the curd that will serve as the base of the cheese. Phase 2. Milk extraction and curd formation. The process begins with obtaining the main raw material, sheep's milk. On the island of Sardinia, sheep of the Pecora sarda breed are milked daily to produce the base of the cheese that will later give rise to Casu Marzu. These animals feed mainly on natural grasses from the Mediterranean hills, which influences the aroma and composition of the milk. In the production facilities, the sheep enter the milking room in an orderly manner. Now, this process is usually carried out twice a day to ensure a constant supply of fresh milk. Milking systems are used that allow milk to be extracted from several sheep at the same time, maintaining proper quality control. The milk obtained is used raw, meaning it is not pasteurized. This allows natural enzymes and microorganisms to be preserved, which will later influence the development of the cheese's flavor and texture. After milking, the milk is transported through stainless steel pipes to tanks where the temperature is controlled to prevent early fermentation. During this stage, parameters such as acidity, temperature, and fat content are monitored. Sheep's milk is rich in proteins and lipids, which favors the formation of a firm curd. Subsequently, the milk is transferred to steel vats where coagulation begins. It is slowly heated until reaching between 35 and 38 degrees Celsius, and rennet is added, which causes the proteins to group together, forming a gelatinous mass called curd. After a few minutes, the curd is cut with special tools called lyres, dividing it into small fragments to facilitate whey separation. As the whey drains, a solid mass remains that constitutes the base of the pecorino cheese that will later evolve into Casu Marzu. Phase 3. Molding, pressing, and salting the pecorino wheels. Once the curd has reached the appropriate consistency, it is transferred manually or with special paddles into cylindrical molds. These molds determine the final shape of the cheese and allow the mass to be compacted to eliminate the remaining whey. The curd is placed inside each mold in layers, pressing it carefully to avoid the formation of air pockets. Subsequently, the wheels are subjected to hydraulic presses that exert constant pressure for several hours. This process compresses the cheese and helps consolidate its internal structure. During pressing, the remaining whey is gradually expelled, resulting in a firm and homogeneous cheese. Then, the wheels are unmolded and moved to the salting stage, where they are submerged in brine for about 24 hours. The salt slowly penetrates the surface, forming the rind and acting as a preservative. After salting, the wheels are left to drain before being transferred to the maturation cellars. Phase 4. Initial maturation of pecorino. The newly formed wheels are transferred to maturation cellars, where they will remain for several weeks. These rooms maintain controlled temperature and humidity conditions to allow the cheese to evolve slowly. The wheels are placed on wooden shelves arranged in long rows. During this initial period, the cheese begins to lose moisture and develop a firmer texture. Natural microorganisms present in the milk and in the environment begin to act on fats and proteins, generating the first aromatic compounds. Workers turn each wheel regularly to ensure uniform maturation. This seemingly simple gesture is fundamental to avoid deformations and ensure that moisture is distributed evenly. In some stages, olive oil is also applied to the surface of the cheese. This treatment protects the rind from cracks and helps maintain a suitable environment for the evolution of the product. After 2 or 3 months, the pecorino has developed enough character. At this point, the master cheesemaker intervenes, evaluating each wheel using traditional methods. He gently taps the rind with his knuckles and listens to the sound produced inside. He may also extract a small sample with a cylindrical tool to verify texture and aroma. Only the wheels that meet the desired standards continue to the next phase. These selected pieces become the base for Casu Marzu production. Phase 5. Preparation of the wheels for insect exposure. The selected wheels are transferred to a specific area where the process that distinguishes Casu Marzu from any other cheese begins. At this stage, the upper part of each wheel is partially opened to expose the interior of the pecorino. Using sharp knives, producers remove a circular section of the upper rind. This leaves the cheese paste visible, which can now interact with the external environment. Small holes are then made on the surface to facilitate the penetration of oxygen and aromas. In some cases, a small amount of olive oil is applied to the exposed interior. This oil helps intensify the aroma and attracts a specific insect, the cheese fly, scientifically known as Piophila casei. The opened wheels are placed in ventilated areas where the surrounding air carries the cheese aroma outward. This aroma is highly attractive to flies, which begin to approach the cheese surface. The females of this species deposit hundreds of microscopic eggs on the exposed paste. Each wheel can receive thousands of eggs distributed in small cracks or cavities on the surface. Once this exposure is completed, the removed rind is placed back on the wheel as a lid. Now this creates a closed environment that favors the development of larvae inside the cheese. Phase 6. Fermentation with larvae and transformation of the cheese. After the deposition of eggs, the wheels are moved again to a closed room where the transformation process will continue. In this controlled environment, a very particular fermentation begins. Between 1 and 2 days later, the eggs hatch and thousands of small white larvae emerge. These larvae begin to feed on the interior of the cheese, digging tiny tunnels through the paste. During their feeding, they release digestive enzymes that break down the fats and proteins of the cheese. This process causes intense lipolysis, a chemical reaction that transforms the structure of the pecorino. As the weeks pass, the interior of the cheese begins to transform noticeably. Now, the paste that was originally firm and compact gradually loses rigidity. As the process advances, the internal structure becomes increasingly soft until it acquires a much smoother and creamier texture. This change occurs mainly due to the intense activity of the larvae, which feed on the cheese paste and generate a series of chemical transformations inside it. As the larvae move through the mass, they release digestive enzymes that break down the fats and proteins present in the cheese. This process causes a progressive degradation of the original components of the pecorino, modifying both its consistency and its aromatic profile. As a result, the interior of the cheese stops behaving like a solid mass and begins to acquire a more spreadable texture, in some cases close to a thick cream. At the same time, increasingly intense aromas develop. The chemical reactions that occur during fermentation generate complex aromatic compounds that define the character of Casu Marzu. These aromas can be very strong for those who are not accustomed to them, but they are an essential part of the identity of this traditional cheese. This transformation process usually lasts for approximately 3 months. During that time, the cheese remains under controlled conditions that allow biological activity to continue steadily. Throughout this period, the texture continues to evolve until reaching a point where the interior of the cheese becomes extremely creamy and even slightly fluid in some areas. Phase 7. Final evaluation and preparation of the cheese. After several months of fermentation, the final evaluation stage begins. Producers must determine whether each wheel has reached the precise transformation that defines Casu Marzu, as not all evolve in the same way. The master cheesemaker removes the upper rind, revealing an interior that has changed completely. The paste is no longer firm, but creamy, moist, and highly aromatic. Thousands of small larvae can be observed moving within it, the result of eggs deposited months earlier. At this point, several factors are assessed. Texture must be soft and easily spreadable, indicating proper breakdown of fats and proteins. Color may vary from creamy white to amber tones, reflecting the level of fermentation. Larval activity is also essential. Continuous movement signals that the biological process remains balanced. If larvae appear inactive or dead in large numbers, the cheese is considered over-fermented. Wheels that meet all criteria are selected, while others are discarded.
Now I ask you, would you eat cheese with worms? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like.